Meanwhile, on the eastern coastline,
Suốt 3 ngày liền, khu rừng vẫn im ắng đến rợn người. Không một dấu vết, chẳng một âm thanh, chỉ còn cái lạnh len lỏi trong từng bước chân và cảm giác ngờ vực bao trùm. Thế nhưng hôm nay, khi ánh nắng đầu tiên vừa hé lộ sau rặng cây, tôi biết thời khắc quan trọng đã đến. Theo kinh nghiệm nhiều năm săn lùng trong rừng sâu, đây chính là lúc lũ lợn rừng bắt đầu rời khỏi nơi trú ẩn. Chúng tôi lập tức điều chỉnh chiến thuật, đặt toàn bộ hy vọng vào điểm phục kích cuối cùng. Cơ hội vẫn còn đó, chỉ không biết thiên nhiên sẽ đứng về phía ai. Đừng rời mắt, cuộc săn căng thẳng chỉ mới bắt đầu. Trang bị đầy đủ vũ khí chuyên dụng cùng thiết bị hiện đại, chúng tôi tiến thẳng đến vị trí được phân công. Sau bao ngày chờ đợi, cuối cùng đàn lợn rừng cũng xuất hiện. Chúng tôi nhanh chóng điều chỉnh ống ngắm, bám sát từng chuyển động của chúng. Phát súng đầu tiên vang lên đầy uy lực, khiến con đầu đàn gục xuống. Những con còn lại hoảng loạn tản ra, nhưng các xạ thủ khác đã chuẩn bị sẵn. Tín hiệu được truyền đi trong nháy mắt. Từng vị trí phối hợp nhịp nhàng, chặn đứng mọi hướng thoát. Cuộc chạm trán này không chỉ kiểm nghiệm sự kiên nhẫn và chiến thuật, mà còn chứng minh sự ăn ý hiếm có của cả đội, một sự hòa hợp giữa kinh nghiệm, quyết đoán và cả chút may mắn trời cho. Tiếp nối cuộc rượt đuổi, chúng tôi tiến lên vùng đất cao hơn, mở rộng tầm nhìn xuống chân đồi. Những bóng đen quen thuộc lướt qua tầm mắt, nhanh và sắc như những cái bóng. Viên đạn đầu tiên vang lên, nhưng khoảng cách xa khiến việc hạ mục tiêu gọn gàng trở nên khó khăn. Dù tầm nhìn đã rõ hơn, những hình thù đen kịt đó vẫn cứ thoắt ẩn thoắt hiện, để lại sự tiếc nuối khiến bầu không khí càng thêm căng thẳng. Trước áp lực đó, Nick lập tức hành động. Anh đưa một người quan sát lên vị trí cao hơn để theo dõi hướng di chuyển của đàn lợn rừng, rồi truyền tín hiệu cho đội bên dưới tấn công chớp nhoáng. Khi kế hoạch triển khai, từng con lợn rừng xuất hiện đều bị bao vây chỉ sau vài giây. Không còn đường thoát cho chúng. Sau chuỗi thời gian căng thẳng không ngừng nghỉ, chúng tôi cuối cùng cũng giành lại khu vực này khỏi sự đe dọa của bầy thú. Một tiếng nổ mạnh vang lên, khiến đàn chó săn giật mình tháo chạy xuống sườn đồi, nấp sâu vào những bụi rậm. Đội của Kevin được giao nhiệm vụ kiểm soát khu vực ấy. Sau nhiều giờ truy đuổi ráo riết, từng mục tiêu lần lượt bị khống chế, mang lại sự yên bình cho vùng đồi. Trong khi Kevin chiến đấu quyết liệt, đàn chó săn vẫn không bỏ lỡ nhịp nào. Chúng đánh hơi cực kỳ nhanh và lao về phía trước. Nhìn cách chúng làm việc, tôi thấy rõ kinh nghiệm nhiều năm của chúng, vừa dẫn đường vừa dồn con mồi về khoảng trống hoàn hảo. Nhờ sự hỗ trợ đó, phát bắn của tôi trúng đích kịp lúc, ngăn mục tiêu kịp trốn thoát. Một mối đe dọa nữa được loại bỏ, mang thêm phần an tâm cho người dân địa phương. Ở sườn đồi phía đông, đội của Nick phải đối mặt với một cuộc rượt đuổi đầy áp lực. Sau những phút giây căng thẳng tột độ, Nick cuối cùng cũng chặn được đàn lợn rừng đúng như dự tính. Anh tận dụng tối đa mọi kỹ năng để siết chặt vòng vây, không cho bất kỳ con nào cơ hội thoát khỏi tầm kiểm soát. Một loạt đạn chính xác đã kết thúc cuộc truy đuổi kịch tính đó. Khi ánh chiều tà dần buông, bóng tối len lỏi khắp khu rừng, những mục tiêu cuối cùng bất ngờ xuất hiện. Chỉ trong vài phút ngắn ngủi trước khi màn đêm phủ xuống, không một con nào thoát khỏi những phát bắn chuẩn xác và dứt khoát của các xạ thủ. Cuối cùng, người dân địa phương cũng có thể thở phào nhẹ nhõm, không còn nơm nớp lo sợ trước những đàn lợn rừng hung hãn nữa. Video đến đây là kết thúc rồi. Nếu chuyến đi săn hôm nay khiến bạn hồi hộp hay phấn khích, đừng quên để lại bình luận để chúng tôi biết cảm nhận của bạn nhé. Nhớ like, share và subscribe để ủng hộ kênh và đón xem thêm nhiều hành trình săn rừng đầy kịch tính khác. Hẹn gặp lại bạn trong những video tiếp theo.
Early in the morning on the outskirts of Oklahoma, the alarm bells of a western ranch rang intensely. A herd of wild boars had broken through the fence, ravaged the young cornfields, and rushed deep into the forest. There was no time to hesitate. The hunting team immediately set out in a Ram 1500 TRX, heading north under the captain's orders. They quickly split into smaller units, following the main trail. From that moment, the pursuit officially began. Every movement had to be fast, precise, and fully controlled. Not a single animal was allowed to return to the fields. Just a few minutes after entering the forest edge, the hunting dogs barked sharply. A mature wild boar suddenly burst through the tall grass toward the hillside. I quickly followed it to a small lake, adjusting my aim. The target moved constantly, forcing me to act quickly. A warning shot echoed. The next shot hit the mark, causing the boar to fall instantly. team quickly secured the area before advancing deeper. The previous gunshot had startled the rest of the herd. From within the woods, several dark shapes dashed away almost simultaneously. The captain immediately adjusted the strategy. One shooter circled to the right while the central group held their position. The following shots were released with control, striking the boars attempting to escape through the dense bushes. We kept a steady pace while remaining cautious to avoid loud noises that could alert distant groups. The scout sent a signal via iPhone 17 Pro Max, reporting new tracks. Through the headset, the captain whispered, "Only shoot when you have a clear line of sight." The first shot from the shooter beside me hit the lead boar, causing the area to fall silent for a few seconds. No one in the team relaxed. We stayed in position, listening to movement signals. A few minutes later, the device indicated another boar circling west. I immediately shifted direction, running along a narrow dirt path toward a dry bush. There, its shadow appeared, smaller than expected, moving just over 10 meters away. A crisp gunshot rang out. The bullet hit accurately, completely disabling the target. I approached to confirm, and there was no resistance left. The giant boar had been handled safely, preventing damage to the nearby farmland. After that, I returned to the team and moved toward an open area between two forests. There, a dark figure was sprinting rapidly in search of food. To prevent it from reaching the cornfield ahead, the captain signaled to fire. We advanced from the downwind side, avoiding any scent reaching the boar. When it lifted its head, a precise shot was taken, quickly securing the target. Another threat was resolved smoothly. Fatigue began to set in after hours of pursuit, and the captain decided to withdraw. But on the way out, a lone boar suddenly appeared near a barren patch of land. It moved slowly but was extremely cautious, requiring a delicate approach. The captain chose a safe tactic: keep distance and use a long-range scope. Once everything was under control, a clean shot concluded the morning hunt. Before leaving the area, the entire team performed a final inspection. No signs of intrusion remained. The hunt was completed perfectly, safely, and in full compliance with U.S. hunting regulations. Today's trip was not just a hunting journey. It was a mission to protect crops and safeguard the ranch, an important responsibility entrusted to us by the local community. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like the video, share it with friends, and subscribe to the channel to follow more thrilling forest hunts. See you in the next adventures! Texas, Alabama, Georgia, across the entire American South, people are still battling their most relentless destroyer. Massive herds of wild hogs that no one can fully control. They tear up cornfields, ruin grazing pastures, smash fences, and throw countless families' lives into chaos. Electric fences, once considered the last hope, have become nothing more than a weak boundary. Even warning shots no longer scare them off. With every defense failing, residents have no choice but to call us, the hunters who specialize in tracking this destructive species. We arrived at the farm early in the morning, walking across ground that had been torn apart, covered in deep, uneven wild hog tracks. The smell of freshly upturned soil still lingered. It was obvious the herd had swept through here the night before. Seeing the fields in ruins, we knew today's job wouldn't be easy. We quickly agreed on a strategy and set out just as the sunlight began to spill over the hills. The hounds ran ahead, sniffing non-stop. We followed a narrow trail leading into the nearby woods. The ground was covered in fresh rooting marks, proof that the herd was still close. Gnawed tree trunks and patches of overturned soil showed up one after another along the path. Not long after, the hounds suddenly growled and charged toward a thick patch of brush. Instinctively, we spread out, each of us taking a strategic position. From the tall grass, a full-grown wild hog burst out without warning. We raised our rifles at the same time. One member of the team pulled the trigger, the shot echoing through the corner of the woods. The animal dropped after a few final stomps. We had barely regrouped when the dogs picked up new signs. A larger herd was gathering near a patch of damp soil in the valley below. We moved in that direction, our steps quickening. From a distance, dark, glossy backs began to appear. The wild hogs were busy digging through the ground, completely unaware that we were closing in on them. We split into two groups, one circling left while the other held the right flank. Once everyone was in position, we opened fire at the same moment. The herd exploded into chaos, kicking up mud as they scattered. One large hog tried to escape through a line of trees, but I managed to cut off its path. I stayed calm, aimed carefully, and squeezed the trigger. It dropped instantly. The smell of soil, sweat, and the sound of heavy breathing blended together, creating an indescribably tense atmosphere. Just when we thought things had settled down, the gun smoke hadn't even cleared when we spotted fresh signs. Another herd was moving west toward a large feeding area that stretched to the hillside. We followed their trail, crossing patches of rough, rocky ground. By late morning, we stumbled upon a scene that made all of us freeze for a few seconds. A massive herd of wild hogs was crowded around piles of spilled feed. There were so many of them that the ground seemed to tremble with every step they took. Their bristling hair, heavy gait, and alert eyes made them look like a small army. I knew this would be the most critical moment of today's hunt. We hid behind a row of large tree trunks, each of us choosing a target. When the signal came, the whole team opened fire at once. Sharp, crisp shots echoed one after another, scattering the herd like water hitting a barrier. One hog after another dropped onto the dusty ground. Others tried to run toward the open area, but the ambush team was already waiting there. The near-perfect coordination allowed us to keep up the pressure, giving the wild hogs no chance to regroup. We swept our scopes toward the left side of the field and spotted another herd moving in. Young hogs ran among the adults, seemingly unaware of the danger closing in. We shifted our ambush positions, keeping our focus razor sharp. I found the perfect angle and dropped the largest one with a clean, single shot. More shots followed in quick succession, taking down several others.
Stands firm, but it's a blow later, and the beast falls.
Even after hours of non-stop action, exhaustion wasn't an excuse to let my guard down. Wild hogs are far too smart and stubborn for anyone to get careless. Before wrapping up, the whole team swept the area one last time. At the edge of the field, a few final hogs appeared. I took the opportunity and dropped several more, easing the pressure on the farm for the days ahead. As the sun began to dip, I finally let out a long breath. The number of hogs taken down today won't erase the threat entirely, but it's enough to give the locals a bit of safety for now. Dust clung to my clothes, sweat soaked through my shirt, but a sense of relief settled in as I looked back at what we'd accomplished. Today's wild hog hunt comes to an end here. Which moment of this pursuit impressed you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss the next intense hunting story.
Texas farmers were no strangers to wild hog damage, but in recent weeks, things had escalated far beyond anything they had ever seen. Calls poured into local authorities one after another. Wild hogs were showing up inside residential neighborhoods, overturning trash cans, injuring livestock, and roaming dangerously close to homes. This had never happened before. Usually, the hogs stayed on the outskirts, tearing up crops in rural areas and retreating back into the woods. But now, they were boldly pushing into populated areas as if nothing could stop them. The city had no choice but to act. A team of professional hunters was called in, and they quickly identified the rugged mountain forest surrounding the farmlands as the hogs' likely hiding place. The terrain was steep, full of tangled brush and narrow trails that could easily conceal an entire herd. Even so, the hunters carried a major advantage. A pack of seasoned tracking dogs trained specifically for hunts like this. As soon as they entered the woods, the first bark cut through the quiet morning air. The team immediately spread out, each hunter taking a designated ambush position. Minutes later, the first gunshots erupted. From different angles, the hunters dropped several hogs in quick succession. The smell of gunpowder mixed with the sharp, echoing cries of wounded animals, rolling through the trees like waves. But that was only the beginning. The herd was far larger than anyone expected. Instead of fleeing in a single direction, the hogs scattered across the forest, turning the entire mountainside into a chaotic battlefield. Every pocket of brush seemed like a potential hiding spot, every shadow a place a hog could burst out from. While the team was sweeping through the area, a massive hog suddenly exploded out of a thicket. The moment unfolded too fast for most to react. Thankfully, the closest hunter kept his composure, raised his rifle, aimed, and fired. The shot echoed through the woods as the animal stumbled and collapsed at their feet. That brief instant reminded the entire team just how dangerous these creatures had become. The rest of the herd continued to bolt in all directions. They tore up the ground, crushed brush under their hooves, and filled the air with dust and debris. But the dogs stayed on their trail, refusing to give up. Several hogs ran straight into blocked pathways and were quickly taken down. Every shot demanded precision, as the animals moved unpredictably and disappeared behind trees in the blink of an eye. No one had time to rest. Pausing for even a moment could mean losing the herd and leaving the community at risk again. When the dogs suddenly erupted into frantic barking, the hunters rushed toward the sound. Another huge hog charged at them with unbelievable force, but it fell within seconds. The team kept pushing forward, spotting new targets and dropping several more hogs as they tried to escape through narrow forest paths. By midday, the forest finally seemed quiet. Just when the hunters thought the chase was nearing its end, something unexpected happened. On their way back toward the trucks, a huge black-haired hog burst across the trail, cutting right in front of their vehicle. The team hit the brakes and reacted instantly. A hunter raised his rifle, took aim, and fired a clean, decisive shot. The animal collapsed, its body as bulky as a prehistoric beast. Meanwhile, on the opposite side of the ridge, another group of teammates had run into a different herd. These hogs tried to slip between the trees, pushing each other aside in panic. From a higher vantage point, the hunters had a clear view. They aligned their scopes, squeezed the triggers, and watched one hog stagger and fall, followed by several more. Each shot was controlled, methodical, and precise. The gunshot had barely faded when the hounds began howling again, signaling another target down in the valley. The hunting team immediately rushed toward the sound, sliding over the layer of dry leaves. At the base of the hill, another group of wild boars was trying to slip into the low brush. We moved into better positions, waited for the moment they exposed themselves, and then squeezed the triggers together, taking down a few more before they could scatter. Today's video comes to an end here. Thanks for sticking with us until the final moments. What do you think about this intense hunt? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss the next heart-pounding adventures.
Few can imagine the extent of destruction they cause. In just one night, the wheat fields and olive groves were torn apart, leaving behind fear and disappointment. The peacefulness of the village is now under threat, and we know that it's time to act and chase these invaders away to protect our beloved homeland. Dawn breaks, our team gathers at Nick's house. The rifles have been checked, scopes calibrated, and spare ammo is ready. We are prepared for the mission ahead. By 6:30, we enter the orange grove, observing the terrain and finalizing our movement plan. Before I could finish speaking, dark shapes darted across the field.
Officially begun.
Immediately, everyone took position, eyes focused, hearts pounding. The entire boar herd charged into the underbrush. I aimed and fired. A perfect shot. The boar fell. The first success of the day, and the crops behind us are now safe. The hunt has begun.
A few lucky boars break free.
Few boars managed to escape the first volley, running towards a narrow trail in the woods. From above, the drone spotted them sneaking through the brush. The hunting dogs closed in, driving them into a tight spot. My scope locked on. One decisive shot, and the boar fell. The teamwork between the people and the dogs delivered a flawless result, precise, effective, just as planned. Not far off, Nick noticed another boar near the trail. The boar dashed towards him, sensing his presence and becoming aggressive, ready to charge. But it was too late. Nick took aim, whispered, "It's time for you to face the end," and fired. A clean, decisive shot. The beast collapsed. I breathed a sigh of relief, watching him complete the task, restoring peace to the land once again. What do you think about that moment? Share your thoughts below. As we moved to another location, the rustling in the underbrush caught our attention. Years of experience, and the barking signal told me the target was near. I took my position and waited. As expected, the wild boar lunged from its hiding spot. Without hesitation, I raised my rifle, aimed carefully, and fired. The bullet struck its side, but it managed to run down the slope. A few minutes later, we found it lying by a field. These are the moments that test a hunter's courage and skill. And today, we once again proved that courage and precision can restore peace to this land. As the sun set, we received a call from the farmer. The wild boars had returned. We turned the truck around and rushed back to the orange grove, more determined than ever. The team spread out, tightening the encirclement. The herd charged toward Jay's ambush point. A massive boar came rushing toward us. John aimed perfectly and fired. A flawless shot. The boar dropped right on the spot. From now on, these fields will rest. No more failed crops. No more sleepless nights for the villagers. Every shot we take is a promise. Trade the rifle for peace. The confrontation ended, and the countryside could breathe in the fresh air.
Teamwork between man and dog pays off.
We returned in the 2025 Ford Ranger, the truck bed loaded with wild boars and our hearts heavy but filled with joy knowing we had protected the community. That's the end of the video. If today's hunt got your heart racing, leave a comment to let us know how you felt. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel and watch more thrilling wilderness hunts. See you in the next video. Texas farmers were no strangers to wild hog damage, but in recent weeks, things had escalated far beyond anything they had ever seen. Calls poured into local authorities one after another. Wild hogs were showing up inside residential neighborhoods, overturning trash cans, injuring livestock, and roaming dangerously close to homes. This had never happened before. Usually, the hogs stayed on the outskirts, tearing up crops in rural areas and retreating back into the woods. But now, they were boldly pushing into populated areas as if nothing could stop them. The city had no choice but to act. A team of professional hunters was called in, and they quickly identified the rugged mountain forest surrounding the farmlands as the hogs' likely hiding place. The terrain was steep, full of tangled brush and narrow trails that could easily conceal an entire herd. Even so, the hunters carried a major advantage, a pack of seasoned tracking dogs trained specifically for hunts like this. As soon as they entered the woods, The first bark cut through the quiet morning air. The team immediately spread out, each hunter taking a designated ambush position. Minutes later, the first gunshots erupted. From different angles, the hunters dropped several hogs in quick succession. The smell of gunpowder mixed with the sharp, echoing cries of wounded animals, rolling through the trees like waves. But that was only the beginning. The herd was far larger than anyone expected. Instead of fleeing in a single direction, the hogs scattered across the forest, turning the entire mountainside into a chaotic battlefield. Every pocket of brush seemed like a potential hiding spot, every shadow a place a hog could burst out from. While the team was sweeping through the area, a massive hog suddenly exploded out of a thicket. The moment unfolded too fast for most to react. Thankfully, the closest hunter kept his composure, raised his rifle, aimed, and fired. The shot echoed through the woods as the animal stumbled and collapsed at their feet. That brief instant reminded the entire team just how dangerous these creatures had become. The rest of the herd continued to bolt in all directions. They tore up the ground, crushed brush under their hooves, and filled the air with dust and debris. But the dogs stayed on their trail, refusing to give up. Several hogs ran straight into blocked pathways and were quickly taken down. Every shot demanded precision, as the animals moved unpredictably and disappeared behind trees in the blink of an eye. No one had time to rest. Pausing for even a moment could mean losing the herd and leaving the community at risk again. When the dogs suddenly erupted into frantic barking, the hunters rushed toward the sound. Another huge hog charged at them with unbelievable force, but it fell within seconds. The team kept pushing forward, spotting new targets and dropping several more hogs as they tried to escape through narrow forest paths. By midday, the forest finally seemed quiet. Just when the hunters thought the chase was nearing its end, something unexpected happened. On their way back toward the trucks, a huge black-haired hog burst across the trail, cutting right in front of their vehicle. The team hit the brakes and reacted instantly. The hunter raised his rifle, took aim, and fired a clean, decisive shot. The animal collapsed, its body as bulky as a prehistoric beast. Meanwhile, on the opposite side of the ridge, another group of teammates had run into a different herd. These hogs tried to slip between the trees, pushing each other aside in panic. From a higher vantage point, the hunters had a clear view. They aligned their scopes, squeezed the triggers, and watched one hog stagger and fall, followed by several more. Each shot was controlled, methodical, and precise. The gunshot had barely faded when the hounds began howling again, signaling another target down in the valley. The hunting team immediately rushed toward the sound, sliding over the layer of dry leaves. At the base of the hill, another group of wild boars was trying to slip into the low brush. We moved into better positions, waited for the moment they exposed themselves, and then squeezed the triggers together, taking down a few more before they could scatter. The emergency hunt wrapped up as the sun lowered toward the horizon. Everyone was exhausted, covered in dust and sweat, but relieved. They had managed to stop the hogs before more damage could be done. The thrill of the chase was undeniable, but beneath that excitement was a very real threat. Wild hogs were no longer just agricultural pests. They were now pushing into city limits and jeopardizing human lives. Today's video comes to an end here. Thanks for sticking with us until the final moments. What do you think about this intense hunt? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss the next heart-pounding adventures.
In recent years, wild boars in California have become a serious threat. With a population exceeding 6 million, they devastate the land, natural forests, and invade the habitats of many other species, weakening the entire ecosystem. Humanity can no longer hesitate. Today's hunt will be a turning point, one that decides whether this land can be restored, and whether we can protect nature that has already suffered too much. As the first rays of sunlight appeared over the horizon, our hunting vehicle rolled into California's arid landscape. Equipped with specialized weapons, modern scopes, and all the necessary gear, we quickly surveyed the terrain, selecting an ambush point with a wide view to be ready for action. The air was so still it felt suffocating, broken only by the sound of wind whistling through dry cacti.
Yani bugün akşam tam avlu derken inanılmaz.
After a brief wait, a sudden rustling broke the silence. The whole team immediately tensed up. A herd of wild boars burst out from the bushes, thick and dense. My eyes locked on the largest one, a dominant male with a massive back and powerful curved tusks. I took a deep breath, steadied my rifle, and pulled the trigger. The shot echoed across the hills. The great beast was swiftly subdued. However, there was no time to celebrate. We immediately followed the tracks of the remaining herd. With binoculars in hand, I spotted another trying to flee into the valley. Without hesitation, I fired. The bullet struck true, and the target went down instantly, rolling down the slope. It was a fitting reward for focus and determination in those brief seconds. In that moment, I realized the greatest victory was not conquering the beast, but surpassing my own limits.
Tu peux y aller quand tu veux.
Our
Tumbling
joy
down the
doubled
hillside.
when we received a signal from our teammates. They had also subdued another giant wild boar. While continuing to monitor the herd above, Ethan, my companion, quickly signaled, pointing to where the boars were attempting to escape. He moved swiftly, setting traps to ensure none could break through the perimeter. As I approached the ambush area, a strange sound came from behind. I turned and saw wild boars charging directly into the field. Gunfire erupted everywhere. Some fell immediately, while the rest scattered in panic. Moments later, shots echoed from the base of the hill. It was Ethan's group. Everything unfolded perfectly, like a symphony of skill, tactics, and teamwork. In the midst of the intense chase, I almost missed another boar approaching fast. Fortunately, Ethan spotted it in time and acted swiftly. His shot rang out cleanly, ending the beast's rampage. That moment taught me that success in hunting relies not only on individual skill but also on trust and seamless coordination among teammates. After a thunderous burst of gunfire, the herd began to scatter. In the distance, massive dark shapes ran in confusion. We quickly set up additional checkpoints along the hillside. When another large one entered my sight, I pulled the trigger again. The shot flew perfectly true. But the rest moved too fast. Within seconds, they vanished into the western forest. In contrast to the earlier chaos, the western side was shrouded in intense tension. Ethan carefully observed the area around the mountain slope, spotting a few solitary ones hiding in the dry grass. He moved silently, keeping his breath steady. One precise aim, one decisive shot, and the echo of gunfire confirmed a complete triumph.
When it comes to hunting, skill is the core, but true success comes only with a combination of experience, modern equipment, and strong teamwork. With all these elements, we completed our mission, not only helping local residents reclaim their land but also contributing to the preservation of California's delicate natural balance.
Ha şimdi